Oh, here we go. Earth. That's where I live. Anyway, I don't know about you.
That's not what I
Well,
heard.
not always, obviously.
That's not what I heard. Notice how this ends on America. I think it's very important. See? It's like, yes, there's the Earth, but let's talk about what really matters. America and that thing south of us.
Unfortunately, though, I think the film's about to begin and we're going to have to talk about other things. Anyway, I was dusting in my telly room. I was dusting, not the telly, actually, which is quite well kept. Look. No,
Okay, later.
Yeah, later. This is Mrs. Brown's chair. Now, this is a very important character in the film because Mrs. Brown is dead, and her chair is her. It's supposed to represent her, and we didn't know what kind of chair we did. And Kirk, finally, they found it at auction, didn't they? The art department went all over, and one of the first experiences I had on set, when I still didn't believe the film was going to get made, was Kirk said, I found the chair, and he made me close my eyes and took me down the corridor and then said, look, there it is, and I opened my eyes and I just said, oh yes, that's her, that's Mrs. Brown, small and raspberry coloured with little things hanging off her, slightly faded and sweet and comfortable. You know.
In fact, when I met Kirk Jones, one of the things he talked about the most was the chair. It was the thing that really drew him in almost more than anything else. And he said, if I do my job right, that chair is going to win a Best Supporting Actress award.
It better not. This bird now, Claire, she might win a Best. She should, actually. She did a lot of work with the kids when we were rehearsing. And we were so happy, weren't we, when we got her a part as the nanny. Okay, so this is the funeral parlour. Unusual, some might say, to have a makeup artist in a funeral parlour. I don't think they do, actually. I think I made it up. Didn't I?
I don't know. Somebody would say it might be unusual to have such a thing in a family movie.
Sure.
But that was kind of the point, was to get right to the edge. This shows our wonderful set. All of this is a set. Every single thing you're looking at is a set. This was an empty field, and that house and those roads and those fences and the village, all built and all gone now.
Every blade, every bush, and little tree, and every flower in the garden. So, and this is their playroom. And that's the baby they're supposed to be eating, you see. Now, this all came from a piece of cannibalism that was in an earlier script that had nothing to do with pretending to eat the baby. And then Kirk Jones, which was another reason why I knew he was perfect for the role of director, said to me one day, why, we need something really, really naughty at the beginning to kick off with, and couldn't they pretend to eat the baby? And I nearly kissed him, actually. I just thought it was such a great idea. That shot just there she's not really in there because, funnily enough, she didn't like being put in a casserole and having a lid put on over the
Covered
top.
with icky vegetables,
weirdly.
which smelled horrible. Yeah, really, actresses. Yeah, it took a very long time to do that shot. We tried about 9 different times before we finally realized it had to be a visual effect. But remarkably, many of the things this baby does are not visual effects, including that. We have put a few words in her mouth she didn't actually say, but we didn't do anything else. A lot of the time, the things she does, she actually did, and did at the time she was supposed to do them.
They were both extraordinary. And when one of them got fed up with acting, then they'd put the other one in, and she would take over.
Yeah,
I've never known Hebe and Zinnie Barnes. I've never known babies of that nature, really. Now, of course, this is somewhat cut down, this scene, isn't it? I can't remember what it was now.
I think there was an opera in the middle of it.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that big Evangeline Mr. Brown duet.
Yeah, it was just a slightly longer scene.
About
slightly
housework,
longer.
wasn't it? There was a long, long, long song about housework. And I've got a bucket and a brush and a sponge. It was a good song. Who had to cut it? Okay, so Mr. Brown's been and got loads of nannies, and this is him coming to get another one. I like this. This is my mum's going, Mick, we're closed. That's my mum's voice. We're not here. I love that thing of the blind coming down.
Yeah, it worked out very well.
There was another scene in this location that we cut in the end of one of the kids coming back and having a magical experience by the letterbox, but it never quite worked.
No, and this is your mother's voice as well.
Which is quite odd because I thought it was me. When I first saw it, I thought, hang on, is that me?
I don't
that can't be
remember
right.
that. One of the things I really miss is an early scene you wrote inside the agency where he comes in and they open the drawer of all the nannies he's had before, and 3 people have to be brought to hold the drawer because it's so long. It goes the entire length of the room.
Yes, at the end of which he says, have you got any Vikings on your books? I'm sure they'd have a firm hand. And there was something about Nanny Whetstone. She's from Newcastle. They're tougher from up there, aren't they?
Yeah.
But you can't have that because no one knows where Newcastle is in
and also
America.
The script was 190 pages long, and something had
That
to
was
go.
the other
It's
thing.
too bad. Now this is Imelda Staunton, who is so wonderful.
And we just got her just before she had become goddess from Vera Drake, and she was up for every award under the sun and winning most of them. And I no, it was just before that.
The film had been made, but it hadn't come out
That's
yet.
right.
So
And
we
I
got her
said,
just in
you
post-production.
have, because I knew, as soon as I knew she was working with Mike Lee, and as soon as that, I said, what's the name of the film? She said, Vera Drake. And I said, what's the name of the character you play? She said, Vera Drake. I said, I rang Lindsay, I think that night, and said, get Imelda now. Get her now. Because if we don't get her now, we won't be able to afford her, and she'll have become even more unpleasant than she normally is, because stardom will have turned her head. She lives in my street. I haven't seen her for months. Not since all that.
No,
War
she won't talk to anyone.
She won't talk to anyone. No. There's the wonderful Brodie-Sangster who came in and did. He auditioned with the scene in Nanny McPhee's room, which is later, and he just nailed it. He nailed it the first time. So we built the children's roles all came sort of from him, really, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's worth talking about these wonderful sets and all this use of color. Probably Kirk has talked about that on his narration track as well. But we talked very early on about how many period movies have a palette that runs the gamut from black to brown, and the determination that this would not be one of those. And of course, you say something like that to your production designer and your costumer, and they go, "Oh boy," and start rubbing their hands together. So Michael Howells, the production designer, and Nick Eade, the costumer, just had the most wonderful time with color.
They did, and yet, that it's a wonderful combination of very, very strong colours like that colour Jenny's wearing and the green in Mr. Brown's study, and then that sort of rather tender yellow that Holly's wearing, Christianna, who's sitting on Kelly's knee. The children's clothes I loved, because they all said they've got to look really lived in and undarned and things, because Mum's been dead a while, and there aren't enough people to look after. There's 7 of them.
We also wanted a kind of classic look with these clothes. It didn't quite say period and didn't quite say modern. If you look at Thomas's clothes, he could really be wearing exactly those things right now, and it wouldn't make any difference whatsoever. And to try to achieve a look that's sort of classic children's film, but didn't feel too period.
But you look at the background of every shot, and look at the bottles in that shot, and the shot of Tora, there's a sort of colour map behind her, and it's just so much to look at in every frame. I mean, I haven't got used to it yet. I look at the frames and I've started to look behind the people.
There's also something that happens over the course of the film that you notice maybe the more you see it, is that at the beginning the house is a complete mess, and after Nanny McPhee arrives, pictures start to get straightened and things begin to clean up a little bit, whether they're cleaning themselves up or the family's doing better, that the house proceeds a little bit the way the family proceeds and somehow is less run down by the time it's over.
There's Raffi. My daughter's in love with Raffi.
Is she?
He's very, very beautiful, and he's just so. I mean, they're all beautiful, of course they're all beautiful, but he's got glasses.
He's got glasses.
And that really puts you one up, I think. Little boys in glasses are, oh, Sam, I love you.
Yes, he's a little angel.
See, no one has delivery like that.
No. Secret toast became one of my favorite lines in the whole script, and I think your agent said the same thing. All I know is I want some secret toast.
We had a nice scene where he writes a little note to Evangeline saying, leave toast here. It's got LEVETOST here. You see, it makes me laugh. I mean, at the beginning we were thinking, while we were shooting, we were worrying that we didn't have enough romance between Mr. Brown and Evangeline, and was it going to be too sudden, and blah 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 blah, all their relationship and how it grew. Of course, Pat Doyle sticks that music underneath, and right from the moment she looks at Mr. Brown, which I think is entirely right.
So we ended up cutting an awful lot of stuff that we'd shot between the two of them because we just didn't need it. You knew everything you needed to know about that relationship.
Yeah. exactly. You know everything you need to know as soon as she looks at him walking down the hall. Well, you know that she really, really cares about him very much. I always thought those cut-out figures were too tidy.
Too tidy. Not these children. Done by the art department.
Yeah, Florida art department.
But talk about the art department. This kitchen was just a complete triumph of art direction.
And we were in this kitchen for how long? Shooting the kitchen thing, which is coming up.
It felt like 2 weeks. It probably was at least a week.
It was 2 weeks. It wasn't just a week, Lindsay.
It was
2
probably
weeks.
all this. I think just the mischief scene was a week, and then there was other stuff going on as well. But you may be right. It may have been 2 weeks altogether.
Kirk said it was the only time he was really scared. And he said it was interesting. It was rather touching. He may have said this on his chat, but he was scared because he thought there's so much going on in this kitchen. I just don't know how I'm going to manage to cover it. And he said he could feel, because it was quite late on in the shoot, wasn't it? It was right at the end, in the last few weeks. And he said he could feel the crew coming behind him and saying, "It's okay, we're behind you." With not saying it, but being so supportive, so ready to help. So he said he found it very, because everyone was just a family by then, weren't they?
Yeah, it's true. I think we were all a little bit like Cook, like terrified of what was about to happen to us, knowing there was going to be food all over the walls and...
Well, and all the children in there all the time. Plus, we had to pretend to get the baby into the stock pot. Come on.
Right.
It was one of those, wasn't it?
Exactly. We had to have a sleeping baby with 120 people in the room.
All tiptoeing around, so it's
whispering,
not
trying not to wake her up.
45.
Yeah. Because if she cried, we were dead. If it really looked like the baby was scared or unhappy, we wouldn't have a funny scene. So we had to, Chrissy had to take her out of the basket and move her over without waking her up.
Can I just say I love that mouse?
It's a great mouse, and it makes a nice little boing
I like that
sound.
boinging noise. And this didn't take too long, did it? Raffi loved doing this. That frying pan's made of rubber, by the way. But it was hard. Melva took a few genuine blows, and this is it. This is the scene that made us all just need Valium. And it was in the dark, and the kids managed brilliantly. I insisted you put that shot in of the socks. That's actually from one of the books, staring socks into the mash.
Yep. Although I think in the book they were supposed to be white socks and not show, but of course we wanted the idea of beautiful red and blue socks.
Oh, that didn't occur to me. See, that's a brilliant shot of Holly. She just looks totally out of control. She probably was by then. You know what we had to say to the children? That they weren't allowed chocolate or anything. No, they weren't allowed any sweeties. This was where Colin did that skittering that he didn't like. Do you remember?
Absolutely. You can see how unhappy he is because he just had to skitter. This
Colin,
was also shot at night, which he hates doing.
He hates doing, and he'd come off doing something very serious. So during the night shoot, it was like he was in Nanny Macbeth instead of Nanny McPhee.
I told him he should put it on his resume. Doesn't act at night, won't skitter.
Yeah. Oh dear. He did hate the night shoots. I do understand. It's tough. But it didn't rain. I mean, the first few days on these sets, it rained, and the crew were like that. It rained, and that's rain. That's pretend rain. Oh, there she is. We had to add these shots, didn't we?
Yes,
because originally we only had
just the face.
Yeah, and it wasn't enough.
It wasn't funny enough.
Yeah, it was very specific. Then you can put it all together again and think, oh wow, yes, yuck.
I do not belong to any agency, Mr. Brown. I am a government.
Oh yes, perhaps a word should be said about government nanny, which is in fact a completely made-up thing. There is no such thing as a government nanny. I just thought that it was funny that the government would provide nannies. And it also, I suppose, was a sort of faint reference to the nanny government that had been referred to in our country, actually.
This, of course, was all lost on me.
There was like a couple of years, 3 or 4 years back, when they were doing this Cool Britannia thing, and they said, we need role models. And they wrote to me and said, would you be a role model? I said, what do you mean? You don't tell people who their role models are. You say, now you're a role model. That's ridiculous. So anyway,
so here
nanny government is it? So yeah, exactly. So that's where government nanny came from.
That will do to begin on with.
I have to say I love the quality of attention that you put into this, the way she looks and seems to never blink and seems to take the world in, and all these little sounds that she makes, just taking things in. This air of faint disapproval or not so faint disapproval.
Well, it was a strange thing to act because, I was covered in stuff. I'm tremendously hot most of the time because that suit that I'm wearing underneath was made of latex. So sometimes I would actually overheat and have to be taken outside and sort of hosed down like some elephant in the zoo.
And then we took one of those great big 18-inch tubes from the air conditioner and just put it right up your dress. That helped
So
a lot.
I did. I used to sit there with this great big yellow tube sticking out from underneath my skirts like some gigantic colostomy bag. Oh dear, it was, tiring. That part of it was kind of demanding, but it was not doing too much with your face and finding the right thing to do with your face. It was, well, you just had to guess it all the time. I was watching this bit the other day with the kids thinking, it's really quite scary.
Yeah. Well, people have said it's like Yoda, it's like Buddha, it's like Jesus.
Is it like Yoda?
Yeah, I'm sure it is like Yoda. It's like Gouda. But there is this sense of supernatural serenity to it.
Excellent notion.
I wasn't serene at all, of course.
No. But it was interesting how we all got used to it, that at a certain point we kind of forgot you didn't look like that. You would come on in the morning looking like this, you come in the afternoon looking the way you normally did, and we didn't distinguish at all. We just forgot.
The frightening thing was when I forgot. And do you remember the house caught fire one day and we had to get the firemen in, and all these very good-looking guys in firemen's outfits came down, and of course I, being me, started to flirt with them all outrageously until I realised that I was dressed as Nanny McPhee. And it, clearly wasn't going to pull any kind of attention whatsoever. I had forgotten.
Yeah.
It has to be said that Celia, Imrie and Im eldest daughter were guilty of the same behaviour.
Yeah, exactly.
Until they realised that they were wearing green fright wigs,
ridiculous as
practically.
well.
Yeah. Now this was hard getting this right. This was
Very,
a
very
killer,
hard.
a killer. And Greg, in fact, my husband invented the, wheel. No, what am I saying?
Yes, catapult.
The catapult thing, this thing. We drew a picture of that. We were away for a weekend and we were still trying to solve the kitchen scene. And he, being a good old sort of solver of this kind of problem, said, well, you've got a wheel of cheese and something, and they're just, catapulting stuff into the...
And there's an assembly line in Agnes at the end. The original
that's right.
scene, the baby was in the stock pot from the very beginning. And when Nanny McPhee came in, it just got hotter and hotter, and it looked like she was going to boil. And several people pointed out, especially the people who deal with things like the ratings board, said, do you really want to show children putting a baby in a pot of soup and nearly boiling her to death? And we went, maybe not. So we had this big problem. And, Greg really solved it.
It was right. I mean, it hadn't occurred to me because I always thought it was very funny that the baby was bouncing around in the stock pot. But of course, someone might have decided to try it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what
that really
frightened me.
us. It really frightened Kirk too. He really didn't want anything like that to happen.
No. Mind you, there's always putting a baby on a catapult. I mean, it's
True.
not like we've...
True, but that wouldn't hurt as much, would it really? If we smashed it into the wall, it wouldn't be as bad as we boiled it to death. Come on. I mean, there's problems and then there's problems.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Oh dear.
Look at that. It's really good.
Scary.
Please, Nanny McPhee.
Please, Nanny McPhee. Now that's supposed to be the tiniest smile ever recorded on camera.
recorded on camera. That's
But
what
you
the
asked
script
me
said.
to be. You asked it needs to be a bit bigger.
Just a tiny...
You used to see the baby actually coming over the
Over the wash
line.
line. In fact, I think that's
Why
still in all the
did
trailers.
you take that out?
Yeah, a lot of the mothers sort of,
Just
when they
said,
first said,
no.
that really
Sorry.
isn't funny. So now we have it in the advertising materials, but not to get people into
Yeah,
the
because-
theaters, but not in the film, to
Okay.
make them upset once they're there. That makes no sense at all.
God, it was a great set to work on.
It was a great set to work on. It was beautiful, clean, it was great, dirty.
But what you have to remember is during that bit you've just seen with all the stuff going on, there were 3 or 4 cameras on working at the same time, which meant 4 camera crews. So that quite small space had 100 people in it most of the time. I mean, it was just and all that food stuck to the wall started to smell after a few days, and it got really nasty.
Horrible.
Got pretty kind of icky down there.
Yeah. Now there's the baby shaking the rattle exactly as we needed her to shake the rattle
Yeah.
at exactly that moment to set it up.
In exactly the right
Yeah,
mood.
Exactly the right mood. This is always the way it was. And we really rarely had to change babies from one twin to another because of an upset. They really were pretty great every day.
Remarkable babies.
We got rid of the last 17 nannies.
Hmm.
We're getting rid of this one too.
I want that bathroom.
Yes, I want that bathroom, and I want this
And I want this
bedroom.
bedroom.
Everybody. And Michael Howell said, the production designer, he said, I want to design a bedroom that every child's going to wish he or she had.
I mean, look at that.
And
Look at that
there it
bed
is.
cover.
I know.
Chrissy's little bed cover. They're all old things. And all the toys were old. They were all so they'd all been hugged and kissed by countless children over the years. And so they gave off this tremendous, powerful feeling of love and nostalgia and things past and things to come.
And you can see at one point Michael said, I know what this room needs. It needs a pelican skeleton. Honestly. And somebody went out, see it back there?
Yeah.
Somebody went out and found a pelican skeleton and said, there you are, Michael. He said, I knew it needed that.
He's a genius. He's just got,
Pleased to make your acquaintance. I'm Oglington Fartworthy.
you see, the obligatory farting noise,
Yes,
which I'm
I
sorry,
know.
I think is funny.
Yes, I know.
So sue me.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, I think it's funny. I think the word fart and Oglington fart, F-A-R-T, fart worthy, which I think Tom delivers very well, is funny.
Very funny.
That was my chair, by the way. I wasn't farting.
These names went through a series of changes until
They
we
did.
found things that we thought were really funny. And this stuff, always hilarious.
Bosoms, you can't be bosoms. Oh, poop bum, poop bum. Now, coming up, oh, that's a good moment when the baby says bum.
Yeah.
Your poop. Poop that.
Yeah.
Can't be poop and
That, I remember you saying, I can't believe I've just written down the words,
You can't be poop and bum.
This is what's become of me. Emma Thompson, Oscar-winning actress, is writing lines like, you can't be poop and bum. Now, this is nice because it was actually done backwards. We had a shot where she was sort of sleepy and looked up, and the visual effects people said, look what happens if you reverse it. And what happens is that.
Which
So it
is
looks as though he's
a
put her to
remarkable
sleep.
moment.
Remarkable. But again, unfussy baby, had all those looks on her face. And this was nice. Remember, it was redesigned. Originally, she said goodnight to Simon first. And then we realized how much more powerful it would be if she
I don't
waited
remember
till
that,
the very, very end of the room, turned around, looked
Yeah.
right at him, and said
And it was,
goodnight, Simon.
that was a very good idea. Whose idea was that?
I don't remember. I think it had something to do with just the way the room was laid out. And I don't remember. It just sort of came the way those things do. Which probably means it was Kirk's idea and we don't want to admit it.
There is something
Yeah.
you should understand
Quite
about
right.
my work.
But
There's
even
so
though-
many good ideas.
You need me, but do not.
But this is very beautifully worked out with Simon sitting up with everybody else lying down, and he's the leader and he's in control. And it's really the enmity between the two of them is established.
I like their relationship very much now. Actually, now it's been cut together out of so many things. But it's very nice to have a really grown-up relationship between a child and
Then I will never go.
such a character.
Yeah, and he really gets at the defiance in that, and
Yeah.
and yet he's interested, and
Yeah.
she's horning in on his territory.
Yeah.
How did she know our names? No one ever knows our names. Magic. Witchcraft. It doesn't matter. We're getting rid of her tomorrow.
This was cut down quite a lot, wasn't it, in that last bit?
Yeah, and we started to tell the history of this project at the beginning, and remember, in the original script there were 17 children. When she said no one ever knows our names.
Oh, that's right,
It
yes.
made more sense.
But it's true that, what they're pointing out is that people weren't taking them in. They were just coming in, and all children know what that's like. That feeling of, you're just a child. Why should I take, pains to know your name and who you are and what you're like? I mean, that was the whole point about the kids, was trying to find children who were able to play very definite characters, because in other live action children's films or family films, the children are sometimes unspecific. They're kind of generalised. They're just cute and they're small, and they're
You can't
those
say
little
anything
cute
about them.
small things. But they're children, whereas each of these children had to have a very specific character. No, she used to trot up the stairs here and disappear, but we decided it was better not.
Yeah, because we thought Mr. Brown would go, now wait a minute.
Hang on.
I'm not going to let somebody with my children who disappears.
Where are
she seems
you?
a little magical, but he's
hello,
not
hello.
quite sure.
That's when she disappeared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I should fire her. Maybe disappearing is
My favourite
something-
character coming up. There she is.
There she is.
My alter ego. You think I'm kidding? Okay.
The sick day. Is this in the book?
The sick scene is in the book. In the book they pretend to have measles, and they do, I think, the thermometer trick, don't they? And I
maybe.
can't remember. I can't
Maybe.
remember.
But I do think,
But-
I think the baby says, got me gig.
Got me gig. Yeah, it does.
Look at that room. It's so great. that beautiful window at the end, which they did such great things with.
Sebastian, run the thermometer under the hot tap, would you?
Oh, we had to cut a great line when Sebastian comes back with the thermometer at the end of the scene and says, is 120 degrees high enough? Which was an adult joke, wasn't it? That's the thing, is kids aren't going to get that. But you see, Thomas is so good. He acted being sleepy so well there. Now, I love this scene. I'm not getting as many laughs for it as I would like at the minute, but I love the fact that Mr. Brown's being cheerful about the fact that
a lot of people are dying.
People have died. Anyway, what's bad for them, good for us. Let me just finish my yolk. And it takes Evangeline to say, yes, well, poor thing. Mr. Brown's backtracking wildly. Yes, so that, of course, obviously. I didn't mean...
Bang, there she is. Keep in mind, a lot of the effects in this movie were done practically. We did obviously have some CGI, but a lot of the time Emma was sort of bending over in the background, hiding behind a chair, and then standing up very quickly when needed. She even ripped off her own warts from time to time, so we could just go on shooting.
I really liked doing the shots where we did magic, practical magic. Because there's something about it that works so much better than CGI, which is, if it's used in the right way and synthesized in the right way, it's a great combination. But when it's just that, when it's just tricks, it's like, the CGI car chase, you just don't believe it.
Yeah, they're just not as interesting.
I just hid next to camera there, and then the camera moved, and I moved into position. And most of those were like that. And even though they don't look like that, some of them look really sudden. That's so nice.
What were your thoughts about the relationship between Nanny McPhee and the chair? Several people have said that they are sort of assuming that Mrs. Brown is running this whole thing, that Mrs. Brown has sent Nanny McPhee.
No, my feeling was always that that Nanny McPhee was only showing a proper respect to the chair. She was bowing because she knew that's where Mrs. Brown sits, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay. It's interesting how many people have said, well, this is all about Mrs. Brown sending a new woman. It's very important to some people that's what it's about. And when I say, well, I'm not quite sure, they get mad, so I leave it alone.
Oh, that's interesting.
This was a very clever thing. We had not quite enough time to shoot this film, and Kirk figured out that we should photograph each child, very, very close, looking at the ceiling to avoid her, and it's made for a wonderful look for this scene.
Yes. I mean, that's the other thing about shooting this movie, was that this scene, how many days was this scene?
Oh, God, 4 days or something.
Yeah. So one little scene, because you've got 7 people to shoot, 8. And then when Mr. Brown comes in, 9, and Evangeline comes in shortly, 10, you have an awful lot of people to cover. So hence, lots of cameras. And you lose the children at 4 o'clock. So look at her trying to get out of bed.
Trying to get up.
How does she do that?
I don't understand that even now. I don't understand that. We were sort of gesturing, and she was reaching for something. And goes that theory.
He is like Woody Allen, right?
Yeah, he really is.
Now, Midge Waller and Sons did have funeral directors somewhere.
In an early script, he had bosses. He had the actual Midge Wallers. Remember,
they were
oldest
virtually
gentlemen.
dead.
Yeah, they were just slightly away from death. We're calling him in and threatening to fire him if he didn't keep doing such odd things.
Yes.
There were some wonderful things in those original scripts. All 190 pages of them.
Yes, and then these are our favourite characters.
Guys. It's so nice because we're kind of well into the movie by now, and here they are popping out of coffins. I talked to Patrick Barlow the other day, and he said when he took his daughter to see it, she didn't know he was in the film. When he popped out of that coffin, she squealed with delight.
That's hysterical. First dead body.
Yes, we didn't show him in that other scene. Good morning. And these guys, were really,
brilliant.
really good. It's very hard to lie that still.
They played dead so well. There used to be a bit at the beginning when the nanny runs in and says they've eaten the baby. When when they're doing makeup on corpses, you would bind the jaw up because jaws drop in an unpleasant way open when you've died and rigor mortis has set out, has not sort of has left the building, as it were. And we had this great guy who just let this jaw drop in response to the baby having been eaten, which we had to cut.
Yeah, we had to cut. Too scary for the
Too
children.
scary. A corpse moving. Nasty.
And I love this bear. It was clearly in Michael Howell's mind. These guys began as taxidermists and worked their way up to morticians. They're keeping their first work around.
But are they going to stuff the corpses? That's what I want to know. Here's Celia, whose garment we're constantly kissing the hem of. The greatest trooper and comedian of our age. Paddy and Derek not being camp at all there.
Not at all.
No.
That's what's so good about them.
What did somebody say to me? They said, I thought it was just so great and really, like, so forward-thinking that you should have a gay couple working in the coffin department. And I'm like, a gay couple?
What are you talking about?
What? And then I thought, well...
Mr. Ween is married.
Yeah, they're both married. They're both married.
Wedding.
I think they're their elderly housekeeper sisters now, babe. Oh, here's the measles medicine.
That's a line I love too.
Yes.
It was fun with this bottle, kind of making it bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like, nope, not big enough. Nope, not big enough.
This was quite small at the beginning. I love the little scorching sound that you get now on the soundtrack. There are little treats like that when you haven't seen the finished product. And suddenly, and I like the noise that the medicine makes.
Yes, it makes a nice
the
gloopy
gloopy
sound. And this was added quite late, this effect of the gloopy medicine that moves around. It looks sort of like lava. And maybe there's a sea serpent in there. And the color changed quite a bit. Remember, it started out green, but it looked kind of like lovely green Jell-O, so we had to change it until it looked really
I'm afraid
ugly.
I had to words about that. Right at the beginning I said it's got to be murky. And look, it's got to be a dark... Actually, I think that it needed to be the sort of poopy brown colour.
Well, it's kind of poopy brown now. But this is the joys of visual effects. You can take a spoonful of green medicine and say, okay, what colour do you want it?
That's a great thing to be able to do.
Yeah. Oh, this is great stuff. This scene, when we were shooting it, I realized what a horror film scene it is. It's a real scene out of a horror film.
Yeah.
It is the monster.
I remember saying to Tom, it's like a cat coughing up a fur ball.
I think he got that.
Oh, lovely Kelly. Couldn't have done this scene better. I remember talking to her about how cross Evangeline is about the fact that she can't read, and that it's very, very difficult position to be in if you can't read. It's like very disempowering. Makes you feel very helpless.
This is one of the joys of having a set where you can go indoors or outdoors on your set and not have to, a lot of times you would have had a balcony scene and we would have had some sort of psych in the background, and this is of course what was our empty field, which is now our village, right there as it is, real trees, everything is real.
I remember them being slightly worried about whether the balcony would hold up under my weight.
Yeah, only slightly though, because they figured only you would fall.
And I was in so much latex I would bounce.
Exactly, you'd bounce, which would have been amusing
and
for the rest of us.
one more facial sort of disfigurement wouldn't make any difference.
Yeah.
There you go. Stupid and worthless. And beneath him. I love the way she delivered that. And beneath him. Trying to be cheerful. I'm behind the I'm under the table. I'm under the table. I'm getting up. I'm getting up. I'm getting up. And there I am.
There she is. And unlike everyone else in the family, Cook goes, yeah, okay, fine.
Cook's made of sterner stuff. Doesn't bat an eyelid. I wasn't quite sure if we would get away with what she described that the children were going to have, because I was thinking, gosh, it sounds as if they've got a lot of money and it sounds so much to eat. No, it is nice.
Apple pie and custard.
But they were spoilt in some way. That was another thing about Mrs. Brown and that little raspberry-coloured chair, and Mr. Brown saying, well, she just gives them anything they want. And that's another reason why Cook's in such a bad mood, because she's a Puritan and Mrs. Brown was, not a hedonist, but certainly a little bit more Epicurean, I think it was Mrs. Brown that bought the jelly moulds, not Cook.
I understand that you were once in
Remember in America, they won't know what the word
lovely jelly moulds, Mrs. Blatherwick. I wonder if you might make the children a bit of raspberry jelly, because I think they're a little bit under the weather today. No, they're not. Yes, they are. They're just a tiny bit, perhaps. Well, that's what she was like. She was just sweet, and she loved them.
Well, in that original script we haven't talked about yet, Mrs. Brown was alive.
Oh, yeah, that's
Maybe
right.
we should go back to that story about you dusting.
Oh, yeah, dusting the telly room and
do you
picking
wanna
up a
tell that
book.
quickly?
Yeah, and looking at it and thinking, I remember that, and sitting down in my rubber gloves and reading it through and thinking, I think this might make quite a good film. And
And that was the
And
Nurse
then
Matilda
ringing
book.
you, it was a Nurse Matilda book, and I rang you and I said, found this book, and it's about this nanny who, these really naughty children, this very ugly nanny comes, and as they get gooder, she gets prettier. And on the strength of that,
Yeah.
almost, you said, that's a film.
That's a film. It just
And that
felt
was it.
way
That's just like,
immediately.
was the...
Immediately. And you said they're really naughty. They glue each other together and cut off
It's
each other's
proper
pigtails
naughtiness.
and hang each other out windows and paper mache the baby. And I went, I can't
Well,
wait.
that
And of
was
course,
one, the papier-mâché the
paper-mâché,
baby.
we used to have that
that
too. That got a little dangerous.
Yeah, because Eric's standing next to the baby that's covered in papier-mâché with it, and it's Evangeline who says, "What are you going to do with her when she's dried?" He said, "I'm going to pop her like a balloon."
And Evangeline walks in and takes the pin away. But anyway, that was in 1997. And it took years and years and years. And it started out with a script with so many children, just like in the book, so many children. that
Middlies,
they don't even
biggies,
have
littlies, and
names.
teenies. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And Mr. and Mrs. Brown, both alive and well.
Yeah.
And you know, unlike the book, not enough story. There just wasn't enough event and no way to give the children individual characters because there were just too many of them.
Mm-hmm.
So over the years, began to whittle down. And I remember very well when you said, and Evangeline is going to become the love interest. And I went, oh, what a good idea.
It's it's a combination of things, isn't it? Because Evangeline is Cinderella. Mm-hmm. She's another fable. She's another fairy tale.
No, there's
woven
there's
in.
My Fair Lady. There's everything. It's all here.
Mm-hmm. See, no new stories.
But as what? Just look at the color everywhere you look. Those colors and those colors. They're so nice.
I thought when I wrote, I mean, it's very sort of Victorian and 1950s, that thing of saying please and thank you. And I thought, is this going to be regarded as some sort of dreadful moral sort of, you must do this, children, rather kind of antediluvian? And then I thought, well, no, I've spent my whole 5 years, I've had my daughter teaching her to say please and thank you. She's brilliant at it now, and it's utterly charming, and it makes her path in the world much, much smoother.
Exactly. It is the kind of beginnings of regard for other people.
No matter whether you feel that regard or not.
Now, that is a fairly new thing. You
Yeah.
used to just kind of go and you either noticed it or didn't notice it.
Yeah, there was a lot of chat about that, wasn't
Then
there? I
we
seem to
realised it
recall.
was a smart
I'm
idea.
going to move
really
in my
smart.
chair because my back's sore. I'm not farting or anything. If the chair makes a little squeaking noise.
Thanks for pointing that out.
It's a good thing not to have in a sound recording studio, squeaky chairs. If you remember that through there.
I think she's so good in the scene, Holly. You really
Oh,
sense that
it's
angry,
incredible.
lost, abandoned child.
It's a very grown-up look.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it myself, Nanny McPhee.
Tora.
Figuring
Liza
it
Bennett,
out.
fantastic, figuring it out. Nanny McPhee giving rather a cynical look, in my view. It's,
The word is wart.
oh, we've missed. No, we've missed. It's gone. That moment, the Chrissy moment when she looks. Sorry, I was looking for it.
No, it was before. I think.
Here I come. But this is just a cut, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's around this time that people start to laugh.
And figure out that it's
Or
okay.
that it's a joke.
That it's a comedy.
Lesson 2, to get up when they're told, is complete.
Of course. Very good, thank you.
Look at that green.
Good night.
Yeah,
It's
great.
insane. I mean, who in their right minds would paint their room that colour? It's just, fantastic.
Yeah, somebody at one of the very first previews said, I found the colors very weird, but I got some excellent decorating ideas from this film. Now, here's a moment where Nanny McPhee is allowed to kind of be funny. It's like you do so
Yes.
much stillness in the movie, but every once in a while you're allowed to have a kind of human reaction. Even
Well,
if
it
it's
was
a fake
interesting
one.
thinking about how funny she should be or should not be. And it worked out that the best thing was for her to be funny very occasionally, but not all the time. She has to be dignified. That's the thing, and apart in some way. If she's too funny, it's too cosy and too human in some way.
Nanny McPhee. Good.
Well, here's another moment when the baby did exactly what was necessary right on.
Look.
Right on. So she does
Ridiculous
that,
creature, incredible.
and then that, which she just did. She'd never done that before, ever. And she did it that day at that moment.
There's a bat, and we are convalescing.
And there's this wonderful, as they do the tennis match thing, this wonderful little tinkling of bells with Lindsay, which was your idea,
I think
Lindsay,
it
may
actually
I
was my
say.
idea, yeah,
I
to
think it's a
have that
great
tinkling
idea. It's very funny.
Accompany the little tennis match. But I think it was Kirk who thought, ooh, they can go back and forth
Yeah.
like a tennis match.
It was so hot in that room. Look at the light.
Right.
There was a daylight lamp. This was on stage, so it was a stage set, and so it was at Pinewood, inside, and the sets were above. They were upstairs, so they were not only raised and therefore nearer the heat, but also outside the window you can see the sunlight, as it were, which is a daylight lamp, which is what, 450K or whatever they're called. I mean, the hottest lamps, as this is outside, isn't it? This was at Penn.
Yeah, this was on our location.
Yeah. Although this set existed at Penn and at Pinewood.
Yeah, we did.
It was
see
very
various
strange,
places.
that thing of coming back to Pinewood, because it was shot in 3 sections. The first 6 weeks at Pinewood, then the next 6 weeks outside at Penn, and then the last 6 weeks at, or whatever it was, at Pinewood. I can't remember how many weeks it was. Yeah, well, more, actually.
It's like the first year
It was
we were
20
here.
weeks.
The second year we were over here.
And it was very strange going back to Pinewood after and finding those places, the same places.
The same places, which had been packed up and were now
We've been told to put our best clothes
these wonderful best clothes.
Right. Well,
Horrible, scratchy best clothes.
Yeah.
That's the thing about best clothes, is they are scratchy.
They
And I mean,
are
I still feel the
itchy.
same way. I was in my best clothes this morning to introduce the film to all the distributors.
They were
So
itchy.
bit nearest loo I could get into. I rushed in and changed into a pair of jeans and an old tank top. There she is. There she blows.
Angela
Angela
Lansbury.
Lansbury.
Oh,
What a woman.
when I first saw her, she said, why do you all want me to play this part? And I said, because I believe that you know the Queen. I believe that you know the Duchess of Kent and got that hat from her. There is this kind of regal quality to her.
Yes, I mean a truly aristocratic quality.
Truly.
That, I mean, in a sense, who else would you get that from? It's quite difficult. You or sort of say all the very, very famous.
No, she's tall and
She's
slender.
tall. She's so
and,
tall.
And this was her first fake nose in her entire career, which is 60 years long. She'd never had a fake nose before.
And she loved it.
And she loved it, and she was just so game for the whole thing.
I went to her hotel. I remember the first time we drank pints and pints and pints and pints of tea.
I'm so glad it was tea.
I read for days. And she was so thrilled as well with Nick Eade's costumes, and she enjoyed the whole thing, which was remarkable, really. Coming all the way over, having not done a film for 20 years, don't forget.
Right. And also she began as one of the great screen villainesses of all time.
Yeah.
And then had evolved into this beloved Jessica Fletcher character from Murder, She Wrote. So it had been a long time since she'd been a villain. And it was great for her to do that, because I think at some point she determined not to do that anymore. But in order to do this, she was really looking forward to it. And I think she came up with that idea that she twitches every time she thinks of her father. Clearly something very bad
Duty,
happened.
Adelaide, always duty.
She can't quite get it out of her mouth without twitching horribly.
I really don't want to think about what Aunt Adelaide's father did to her when he was saying, duty,
She
dear.
was very clear about all that.
Something nasty was happening, I think. She's very dysfunctional, Aunt Adelaide. And it makes her cruel. And, I mean, she doesn't warm up. She's not one of those nasty
villains
people who gets
comes around
nicer.
in the end. No
No
definitely
way.
not. She faints out of frame and we never see her again.
But, she reminds me of a lot of people, not necessarily that I know, but in government, for instance. A sort of rigidity. She represents that thing of people who have never worked through any of their issues.
Who don't know that issues exist as a word except for magazines.
Exactly.
No, there's complete sureness of herself, that there's
Yeah.
no question that she's right, everything she says is right, everything she feels is right. It would never occur to her.
She's sort of Hitler in a frock, really.
Look at that nose, it's so great. Whenever she turns profile, it's just something. There was an interesting thing that happened when we were talking to Peter King about coming in to do be the head of our hair and makeup department, and he'd won his Oscar, was about to win his Oscar for Lord of the Rings. And the first thing he said was, well, who's the costumer? Which I thought was such an interesting question, because he loved Nick Eade, and he was very, very glad to know that Nick Eade was going to do it. And they really did, with Kirk, build these characters from the ground up. It's like the hair and the makeup and the clothes were all part of one thought, and the actors were part of that as well. So that it all kind of comes together in this wonderful way.
You not have a more comely girl?
Can I just say that this scene was an absolute pig, and I say that pun intended and everything intended. This
we had to redo
scene
a lot of
was
it.
a pig.
Awful.
It went on and on for days, and that donkey, which was supposed to be cross and very active, was, as you can see, it just never, it never went faster than this, no matter what you did. And I suggested a few really quite draconian things which no one would think of.
We were all so mad at you for writing all those things.
Oh, Kirk he hated me for about 3 weeks while we shot those scenes. This bit, really. And it was I think this was the trickiest bit to do. The logistics of it were very tricky.
Impossible. And in fact, this stuff is in the book, and Adelaide taking the child away, them dressing up the animals in their best clothes, Modestine, the donkey, all that stuff. Yeah. So we can blame Christianna Brand a little bit for it.
For dressing up the animals, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we shouldn't have hated you as much. You should have pointed that out at the time.
That's true. God, makes me tired just looking at it. Did you remember, I was always sitting on set with a pencil rewriting.
Yeah, this scene especially, this whole scene at
this
doorway
sequence
was completely rewritten.
Because there was something about where people were as well. Because the house was so big, of course, I never imagined that. And so the actual dialogue just didn't fit the size of the location. That's what was... that's the job, isn't it? That's the fascinating thing about it. It changes all the time. And there she is.
There she is. I love that garden gate. Now, this is a puppet.
Yes.
We shot it with a man standing right next to the puppet operating it, so you could see both the man and the puppet. It was absolutely ridiculous looking, and then the man was taken out by the visual effects people later. And you can see it's just the guy's lifting it up, this big puppet. Yeah. Just ridiculous.
And I remember that I had described the donkey as executing a snappy tap dance.
Yeah.
And then I got rather a sort of timid request from special effects saying, would it be all right if it did a little bit of Irish dancing, because it's less expensive? It was something to do with
the joint in its leg.
Yeah, that doing a tap dance or making his knees bend or something was tricky. Yeah, and I'm like, you can make a donkey dance, any dance. I don't care. It's a dancing donkey. Donkeys can't dance and they can't stand up. Just do that and I'll be happy.
Yeah, nobody's going to stand up and say a donkey would never do an Irish dance.
No, a donkey would always obviously do a Spanish flamenco. So that was... I remember being very impressed by that. So I thought, blimey, making a proper film here.
Now, this treehouse, remember when I saw the drawings for it, when Michael House came over and showed me and Kirk the drawings for it, I called you and said, there's a treehouse. We should move one of our scenes into the treehouse, and this one got moved. I think they were originally just sitting on the fence or something, but it's such a beautiful thing. Just kind of not normal in any way.
She wanted me.
I'd like to be in it and see the kids saying all these things as well.
And remember me calling you and saying, how much space is there between the tip of your nose?
That was one of the first phone calls you made to me.
Of pre-production, yeah. Saying
I was absolutely flummoxed.
Well, we had that window was designed around where your nose was compared to the floor, and you had to go measure from the floor to the tip of your nose so we knew what the size of that window could be.
That's right.
No.
Angela refers to that as the meanest little mouth on any human being ever, and it really is a mean little mouth.
Yeah.
See it? It's sort of drawn in there.
Yes. A sort of cat's bum of a mouth.
Nicky was so sorry about this hat. It had to look great on the donkey, but it didn't fit the outfit. He was so sorry. He'd done this wonderful outfit, and she would never wear that sort of hat with that sort of dress.
I'm willing to overlook that last.
But you can see this is all set, and everything works. You can go right from that room, right to the front door. It's all real.
Is that shot towards the door set, or was that?
Everything here is on location. Every single part of it is done in the house set.
Not little Chrissy.
On location. That's right, of course.
Because that is the actual outdoor. I think we should say something about the music. Patrick Doyle really hit it out of the park with this score. We had the hardest time I've ever seen finding temporary music to use with the previews and things. It was just murder finding music that was the right tone, that had humor, that had romance, that had this kind of big adventure sound to it. And he just did such a great job. And you can feel how hard it was that he had to keep doing cues that in 1 second could turn into something else.
He said, he rang me when he finished, because I was away, do you remember when you did the music recording? And he said, Well, that was the most difficult score I've ever written in my whole life. I'm never working with you again.
Well, just listen to the changes through here. This beautiful theme when he picks up Chrissy, and then, wait a minute, who's in the carriage? And then suddenly this theme. And see how the little checks on her ribbons are from the donkey? That's what the donkey was wearing, was that red and white check. It's supposed to fool Aunt Adelaide.
And what a pretty lady it is, too.
Poor old Evangeline.
Evangeline.
Look at Simon. He's going to look at his dad in a minute.
Isn't that great?
And lots of people won't notice until and he's just
Seen it a few
noticed. He
times.
heard
He
him say
realizes,
Evangeline. Suddenly think,
yeah.
hang on a minute.
Yeah. And look at this. This is really beautiful. This is something that Kirk and Henry Bram, the cinematographer, and Michael Howells designed from the very beginning. Look at that. It's so beautiful.
It was a brilliant idea. That when they told me about that, I was just so thrilled because it's just going off into the sunset. It was just a wonderful idea.
Thank you.
I think that's the best bit. When you write a screenplay and then a director and production designer come up with something like that, you can't believe it.
Henry Bram did some very interesting sort of research on this film. He looked at a lot of children's films and decided exactly how a film needed to be lit to not be too sophisticated for children, but not unpretty. A lot of children's films are lit very, very flat because there's this idea that children need that. And then there are others when you can see that they do look so adult in their look that children look at the ads and don't think it's for them.
Oh, that's very
And
interesting.
he found this kind of glisteny version of a look for the film and works so well, of course, with the production design and everything. It's really, really beautiful.
See, that's a mystery to me.
Yeah, me too. I don't get it.
So I don't get that. I don't know how they do that.
We do words.
Yeah. I do acting as well,
Oh, that's right.
That's how quickly we forget.
But isn't acting a lot about saying words? Isn't it about saying words? It's all words to me. Saying words, writing words, words.
Okay, so I'm standing next to the camera right now, okay? Here. I'm walking with the camera.
Right.
I'm next to Phil Sindel, our wonderful cameraman, and he moves it round, and then just as the camera comes... That's it. I just moved into position. And as Phil moved away from that moment, I went into the spot, and he just comes back a bit. That's easy.
I think you will find that lesson 3, to get dressed when they're told, is complete.
Look at the size of me.
Mm-hmm. And yet this is actually... one of the things that Peter King said was that he wanted your looks to change in more radical ways than what it said in the script, which was just one wart goes, one... it used to be that nothing happened here except a wart went. But actually, she's gotten smaller. Her nose has gotten smaller. Her ears have gotten smaller. Her hairline has gone up a bit. There are many gradual changes over the length of the film.
Did we ever count how many there were,
5.
actually?
5, because on scene every day in the scene breakdown, it would be, okay, this is stage 4 nanny, this is stage 2 nanny.
Yeah,
this is
no,
stage-
but there were... I suppose no, you're right, absolutely.
Because there
There
was...
seems like more for some
Well, there was
reason.
stage 1, which was the whole
kit and
McGill, the
caboodle.
warts and all, and stage 2 was exactly the same except one wart was missing.
Yeah.
But stage 3 was this stage where the warts have gone, but everything else has changed as well, and it changes quite gradually from this point on.
Because we said we wanted it to be subliminal almost. I mean, a lot of people won't notice the earlobes.
Yeah.
And the earlobes are huge and great big, long, weird, wobbly things at the beginning. Oh, Mrs. Quickly.
The dreadful one.
Do you know, I know one who does live in a cucumber lane.
Do you really?
That's why we put it on.
Gee, it couldn't be
Because I think
England.
it's just absolutely the nicest name for a road.
Now, this location, when Kirk told me about this, I thought he was absolutely crazy. It was 170 stone steps down those cliffs to get down to that beach, 170 up. The loos were at the top, so adults and children had to climb 170 steps if they needed to use the loo.
This
Freezing cold,
it was hysterical.
raining every second we weren't shooting, it was raining. And yet so beautiful that now, who cares about any of that?
Listen, it's in here by the skin of its teeth because this was the only light we had, and the scene went on
There's a
at
whole
the
other
end,
section
which
where
was
Colin
lovely.
arrives and the children think he's come because he loves them and he's going to play with them and they're all so happy, and then he says Mrs. Quickly's coming to tea, and all that went.
Which I'm still sorry about.
Yeah, me too.
I
but
wish
it
that
was
we had
raining and cold and raining and
and then
cold,
we
and
just
we
didn't
had
get
to
the scene,
leave,
and we
that
couldn't
was
afford
it.
to come back and redo it, and we couldn't put it in any other location. We talked about it endlessly, didn't we?
Endlessly. But look how beautiful it is. It was worth every second of it.
Can you stop Papa from marrying her overall stepmother?
This was the moment where we were all in despair. The rain was coming down. The kids were so cold, and they'd almost been sort of... That wasn't a fart, by the way. It's my chair. I'll do it again. Wait. There we go. And Sam was sitting there shaking, and Kirk was trying to explain something to the children, and he said, you've really got to concentrate because we've only got a few minutes light, and if you've got any questions, they've got to be sensible questions. They can't be silly questions. Now, has anybody got any questions? And Sam put up his hand, and Kirk said, "It's not a silly question, is it, Sam?" And he was quite fierce with him, and Sam said, "No." And Kirk said, what is it? And Sam said, "What's going to be in my bun?"
Well, he had a bun in his mouth the whole scene. It was a very important thing.
Absolutely, it was important. In fact, we all knew it was an important thing, but the effort not to laugh practically herniated the entire crew, if you recall.
Yeah, those of us who weren't frozen to death.
Dead feet. Very good.
Very nice. And some very nice shots with those dead feet in them.
Father, there's something we want
This
to
is the
ask.
sort of central, pivotal scene. It used to occur in the house, do you remember? And this is, I suppose, central to the whole film is the relationship between Simon and his father, because Simon's so angry with his father and angry with his mother for dying and can't bear the idea, so hurt.
So hurt that his father would think about getting married and never even talk to him about it.
And Mr. Brown can't believe that any child... He's so ashamed and appalled by the whole idea himself that he can't bring himself to even talk. And I mean, of course, in Victorian times, children were seen and not heard, etc., etc. We know that legend. But the fact is, fathers and sons and mothers and daughters sometimes don't talk to each other. We're very bad at communicating with each other on an emotional level. Often, not as a rule, but very often, the most difficult thing about being a parent is knowing how to deal with your children's emotions. And Mr. Brown can't face it. He just can't. There's 7 of them. How's he going to do it? He's got to earn money. He's at work day in, day out. It's not like he gets weekends off.
And it's the classic excuse. This is so hard for me, but I'll say I'm doing it for them.
Yeah.
Because it's too hard for me. It's my favorite kind of scene because you identify with both of them. You feel infinite amounts of sympathy for both of them. You know, you're on everybody's side.
And you know that it cannot be healed except through the right things, love and listening and softening in some
And
way,
empathy.
softening of the attitude somewhere.
This is a great set.
This is another good magic bit coming up where we did it. It's hysterical.
Yeah.
Right?
This was very important to me that the door opened all by itself.
Yeah.
I thought that was crucial.
So he comes in. Now, we're all in the room. Me, I'm standing next to the boys with the props were with a carpet, a table and the cups of tea.
You're in costume.
I'm in costume with everything and glasses on and a book. And we're all standing behind the camera in a little sort of line. Right now. And now we all move around, lots of giggling and squeaking. And now, while Simon does this bit, we're all it's setting up in that little round
desperately
chamber
fast,
bit.
yeah.
Really, really fast. And then everyone's creeping out at top speed. And I'm getting settled and thinking, right, I've got to act now.
Hello, Simon.
And there you are. And even though that shot is speeded up, nothing else about this is fake. She was really there. Everything had really worked. The tea is steaming.
Yeah. I said you've got to have really hot tea because that's what's so funny. Well, not funny, but sort of magical about it. This scene went on, actually.
Yeah, had a very nice ending.
Had a nice ending to it, and also a nice bit of Nanny McPhee just sipping the tea and going, "Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Lovely cup of tea."
Like she really is just some little
I'm
old
very
lady.
sorry that we haven't got that in. I think that's
I
in there
know.
somewhere. But it's lovely.
She's sort of Miss Bates.
But she just, like anyone else, she needs a good cup of tea at about, it's that time, isn't it?
Exactly. And there were those nice lines about where did you come from? Remember?
Right. And she takes her glasses off and the music rises and you think she's going to say, I don't know.
Come from the wind.
Yes,
I come from
yes.
behind the sun. I come from the back of the
She says, I come from Wimbledon. But I grew up in Chalfont, St Giles.
Which is where Kirk lives. It was great. It's too bad.
And well, it's kind of repetitive because we did have Wimbledon as a joke in Sense and Sensibility.
Well, that was it. It was an homage.
Well, because it's the only place name that you can say that Americans recognise.
They recognise A, and it's got a nice
I come
B
from
in it.
London.
Exactly.
You know, it isn't going to work, really.
No, everybody in America knows that. Meaning the world. There she is.
There she blows. A galleon in full sail. Nickied.
Yes,
Understated as usual in the costume
well,
design.
we realised that their best clothes had all gotten ruined by the animals, so he had to design a whole other set of best clothes for this scene.
And Celia's teeth were dyed this terrible yellow colour, which, did you decide to take that yellow down?
Yeah,
Because
it was too
much.
distracting. It was just distracting everybody. And this outfit, honest to God, look at it.
There was a long bit where she sort of goes up to all the children and is foul to them all,
Right.
which we cut down, which I think was a good decision. Well, this scene is sort of, when I first wrote this scene, when did I first write it?
80.
I don't know,
Yeah, sometime
99
in the
or
20th
something like
century.
that. Yeah, sometime in the 20th century. I came up with the Tea Party scene with Mrs. Quickly coming and all these terrible tricks being played on her, which had the effect not of putting her off, but of pushing Mr. Brown towards her so that she thinks he's coming on to her. He's keener than he actually is. So in fact, it's their tricks backfiring.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's changed a lot, but the essence of it has always remained the same, hasn't it?
It absolutely has. And because, remember, when there was Mrs. Brown, obviously Mr. Brown didn't have to get married. The minute Mrs. Brown was dead, then this whole story appeared, and Mrs. Quickly was entirely her creation. There's nothing like it in the books. And this scene, I remember reading a draft and reading this scene and saying, this is the movie. Now we know what the movie is.
That's
We can
right,
kind
you
of,
said that.
we can work backwards from this about tone and everything else.
And I thought, but I can't write, and
It wasn't we needed frogs and spiders in every scene. It
No,
was just
I
it
knew
hit
what
a
you meant.
note that worked.
I think that's around the time I rang you, sobbing, and said, right, I'm going to write you 10 pages, I'm going to send them through on
If you
the
don't like
email,
them,
and if you
that's
don't
it."
like them, that's it, I'm not doing any more, we're not doing this film, I can't do it. And I sent you 90 pages, which
Yeah.
wasn't the whole film, and on the strength of those 90 pages,
Yeah, we
they
went
green,
forward.
they
Yeah.
whatever they didn't green
bought
light,
the
but
books
they
is
bought
what they did. They
That's
bought
it, that's it.
the underlying books.
God. She actually put that worm in her mouth.
She actually
and she
put the
hates
worm
worms.
in her mouth, and she hates spiders, and she let a spider crawl all over her head. It's the bravest thing.
But this is no time for food, Mrs. Quickly.
Selma?
I couldn't possibly swallow it under the circumstances.
And again, a very difficult scene to shoot with, and we were thinking what a nightmare it would be because we would never get the toad to do what it was supposed to do. We'd never get the worms to do what it was supposed to do, and they all did what they were supposed to do. We had
That
more.
toad, there's one take. This toad
Yeah,
came out,
okay.
and then did this.
Then jumped, and then we said, "Do you
I
think
did
you
that.
could do it again?" And then jump out of frame. So second take, it jumped out of frame. Now, I just still don't understand that.
No.
The tarantula crawled around her head exactly as it was supposed to do. The worms squirmed.
The
just as they
only
were supposed to
difficult
do.
thing was
The jelly.
this thing.
This, which of course is not alive, we had a terrible time with, and had to fix and post. It just
Okay, never
wouldn't-
worked with animals, children, or
jellies.
jellies.
Yeah, that had to be done in post because it just wouldn't fall right.
That's my
They're
favourite
among
line.
the
Not here
cutlery.
amongst the cutlery.
And this machine, again, wonderful idea. The art department just coming up with this weird glove on it, and it's
So
good.
strange. And of course, we had to be very careful here because this is essentially a scene about a woman who thinks that a man's making a serious pass at her.
Yeah, really.
And trying to
inappropriate pass
sort
at her.
of make love to her on the carpet in his study. I mean, not to do find a point on it, and it is a U certificate and all of that, but
That's what it is.
that's what it is.
That's what it is. And she's happy with that as long as she gets a proposal out of it,
yeah,
which is
because
all she wants.
Yeah.
This was a hard thing to shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody had to go at this. And Kirk finally walked in, and said, everybody else stand aside, I'll get this. And of course, his went all over the place. It took forever to get that oatmeal on his mouth.
The porridge, they would, Americans call it oatmeal.
Sorry.
everyone. We call it
oatmeal,
porridge.
they call it porridge.
Okay. And they tried it with talcum powder on their hands that it would come off, but then it just fell off Colin's jacket. then it was oil, and it's just slid down his back slowly.
gosh,
Then
it
I can't
wouldn't
remember what
stick.
did it in the end, but I mean,
I know, it's just the right combination of flour and everything else, but a million takes to get that right.
Stands between all of us.
and here we have our, well, Colin used to touch that monkey until, maybe
I
he
thought
does.
he still does.
No, he doesn't.
Doesn't he? Wait, let me get there.
What's ruin?
Aw.
No, because we normally have
There's no time to
a well-known British actor touching some sort of animal in serious scenes. So we had Hugh Grant touching
the little sheep.
touching a sheep
The
on the
porcelain
mantelpiece in
sheep.
Sense and Sensibility. So when Colin touched that monkey, I thought, it's a bit sad here, we can't make jokes. Look at him, he's very sad.
Right, I think we're going to have to stop now, dear. And she said,
You see, this is where we're pretty much saying she died in childbirth, which is also,
Yeah.
fairly hard. And look at those
For
faces. I mean, they're
children's comedy.
just
They're so good.
so good. They're really listening, and they're so appalled and sad.
your great aunt Adelaide has been supporting us for years with a monthly allowance. A little while ago, she told me
He's really good in this scene.
that I had to remarry or the allowance.
I mean, imagine having to do that, tell your children,
Today,
I can't support my family.
Yeah, and you're all going to
sorry.
prison.
He did have a line. We cut that speech down because it's quite a long speech. He says, he doesn't actually say debtor's prison.
Well, he
but
says it in the earlier
says
scene,
it
in the
in
pink
earlier
chair,
scene, yeah.
yes. It's awful.
into the care of others. I don't know how many of you will be allowed to stay together.
And you think, well, no wonder he never told them. This is unbearable. How could he have told them?
I'm sorry to have failed you, children. You deserve so much better.
And Sam's looking sort of glum, as a 5-year-old
Exactly,
would,
not quite taking it
not
in
quite
at all.
understanding what's going on.
What would you suggest?
Change what happened. Bang your stick. Make it undo itself.
That's great. Rafi does
Yeah,
that so
he's
well
really,
because
really
it's
good.
logical. You bang your stick,
you're
then undo
magical.
it.
You can make anything happen.
What should we do? Help us, Nanny McPhee. Tell us what to do.
You must undo.
On this bit coming up, I had said to Tom, shout it.
Mm-hmm.
He was just doing a normal how, beautiful, but the tone was absolutely right. But I said, this is a panic. You're in
Yeah,
this is an
it's
emergency.
desperation.
So shout it. And he couldn't believe that it wouldn't be too big. And talking about big,
Speaking
let's
of
talk about
big,
this set.
Speaking of big,
Michael
Howells
Howells.
said that he brought all these in from home.
Yeah.
Perhaps not true. And somebody thought that was a dead dog on her on her lap. Although it's supposed to be a stuffed
lamb.
sheep or something.
Yeah.
And that is one of the funniest lines in the movie about tart.
Yeah, I do
Look
like
at
that.
this room, honest to God.
We all used to troop in there from time to time and then come out when we got a headache.
From laughing, yeah. I love how the baby comes to the door too. It's like she's in this too.
And this is a location scene not at Penn.
Yes,
in
this is
fact.
the only
only
scene in the movie that
location
isn't from
scene.
our Penn set or from the studio. This was somebody's actual house looked like this.
It was Michael Howells who put all the pink gravel down. I said,
know,
you
and the-
can't be serious.
And the swan topiaries and things.
Yeah.
Naughty things we were doing. The toad in the teapot. And the wormy sandwiches. That was my idea!
Look at Holly's face. She's so distraught. There was lots of chat about Celia's dress because she'd undone it a bit and great concerns about whether it was too much,
Slatternly.
She was just too sexual, in some way because she's so predatory, this woman. But it's a good version of the wicked stepmother because she is wicked as it transpires, but at the moment she seems just awful. I mean, someone you just wouldn't want in the house or...
And because she's too silly.
Yeah,
she's
she's
just too
awful.
silly. You get to the evil later.
Yeah.
Just a natural result of their motherless condition that they only need.
But not just silly, but sort of interfering, someone who would never let you be.
Pathetic and
Horrible.
lonely you are, and all it takes.
Now, Americans apparently have trouble with Celia's bosoms.
Not all Americans. Not me.
No, not you,
No,
obviously.
but certain Puritan Americans. We are a Puritan country, after all.
Our fault,
During the big
essentially.
disbursement, all the Puritans went to America, all the criminals went to Australia.
Yes, I mean, Selma, would you do me the honour of becoming my...
But didn't we have sort of... In fact, when she drops down later into a deep curtsy, and someone may have said there's an awful lot of cleavage in that shot, and I suggested she put her hand over her chest. Do you remember? Just for that moment, because
You don't know, dears. Let Daddy have a little moment
there was
to
a...
himself with your new mummy.
Oh, she's so scary, so scary. This was
Nasty.
Kirk's idea.
Hamlet.
Yes,
Everyone's
dead
dead.
people all over the stage.
They've swallowed the poison. This is when all the dads start to cry. I've noticed.
Yeah, they just cry and cry and cry. And non-dads cry because they've all been in the position of feeling misunderstood by their fathers and not listened to and ignored.
Nanny McPhee sort of wandering off in a...
Well, you know,
Modest
this is, they
sort of-
don't
yes,
need
it's
her.
their
They've learned to
bit.
solve their own problems. They don't have to be naughty anymore.
Well, and it's not that. It's because she it's him listening.
Yeah.
It's his problem
Exactly.
that's being addressed, that he doesn't listen. And that's the surprise when she says, you know, lesson 4 is complete. Lesson 4 isn't for them, it's for him.
I
Yeah.
promise I'll never hide anything that affects us from you again. I can see you're all more than capable of understanding it.
I don't think this even took very long to do. Look at this. This is him holding the look when he said the line.
Mama still thinks about us where she is.
Staring.
Yes.
Limpid.
Someone
But
said it's
uncomplicated.
just a point of information, someone
Yeah.
said. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you know, obviously it's not ideal.
Yes, but better than she
But,
doesn't think
yeah,
about us
yeah.
where she is.
Chrissy, why don't you choose us a story?
We added that, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you choose us a story?
Lesson 4 is complete.
It's quite difficult to rabbit on over these bits, isn't it?
It is.
Because they exert a sort of influence over
Yeah.
you somehow.
This was a much longer lullaby meant to be sung by the children. And Patrick and Emma wrote it all. And then we got this... Patrick knows this woman named McKenna who's singing in the most beautiful motherly voice in the world. It was always designed to be her lullaby that she used to sing them. And
Well, we used to have... We had lots of versions of this. We had Nanny McPhee singing to them.
Right.
And we had... Do you remember that scene, that little shot just back there? Chrissy's crying.
Right.
And someone says, Dora says, what's the matter, Chris? And she says, nothing.
Yeah.
And Dora says, no, really, what's the matter? And she says, nothing. And then Sebastian takes it into his own hands and sits up and says, I'll sing to you. And he starts singing, and then all the children join in. And it was children singing to each other to comfort themselves because this was what was about to happen.
Yeah. We tried
and
all
we
different
tried it so
versions.
many ways.
And suddenly this way just worked better than anything.
Really like? No idea. Keen's mustard to tie the knot, though.
This dress, honestly.
Enough for him. Only got the sheep.
Now, imagine, picture the scene with those lambs on set.
However, will you manage them?
They got a lot of attention.
Yeah.
I've got a few tricks up my sleeve.
A few marshmallows to the bargain.
Started off by giving them a good clean.
Now, we were so lucky. This, having had all this rain at the beginning of the shoot,
Yeah.
here, you know, the 6-week
did great.
shoot, the crew are almost unable to drag themselves around. They were so covered in mud. And then just as the wedding sequence began, which was 2 weeks' work, and we knew it was going to be 2 weeks, the weather changed and we had 2 weeks of beautiful weather, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Which was wonderful. But when you come later to the snow sequence, of course, no one could see.
No one could see. You could only be in that snow in sunglasses, and oddly that was not very period.
No one could see, and because the snow is made of very, very fine paper, no one could breathe.
Mm-hmm.
So we all developed sinus problems and chest infections and things.
All a bunch of babies as far as I'm concerned.
and had screwed up our eyes so tight. Also in this... Oh, look at her. See, here she's really showing her true colours. She's able now to come out with it, and one of those people who couldn't...
Nasty noise all the way through my nice way.
hates children.
Look at that. Oh, poor little thing.
When we cut from that shot, every single member of the crew was in tears.
Everyone. They couldn't
including the
believe it.
guys.
Yeah, it was so hard to watch her cry like that.
I'm your mother now.
It's that face, the kind of...
This can't be happening.
It's almost like a turkey gobbling. She can't believe.
This was an idea that was thought up backward, all this stuff about the rattle. The ending of the story used to be different with a sort of thing of toys coming down from the sky, remember? And Kirk said, that doesn't really feel like what these children need. And we sort of worked backwards. What if the baby had a rattle? What if Mrs. Quickly broke it? What if it came to...
And then I said it's the mother's rattle.
Exactly.
Remember?
And it all kind of grew in pieces. And now I'm so glad it's there.
Can I just lay my worship at the feet of Elizabeth Berrington at that moment? Because
plays Letty.
Letty, Selma's friend, who says, there's footman, and manages to wring everything out of that line.
Aunt Adelaide, may I present my fiancée, Mrs. Selma Quickly. Selma, this is Lady Stitch.
Your ladiness.
There you go, there she is,
There,
covering
yeah,
her
exactly.
cleavage, like a good girl.
Festivities.
You
Even Letty's a little ashamed of her.
She's not sure, Letty, is she? She's absolutely not sure.
She's
In
not
fact,
at her finest.
Left to her own devices, I think she might be slightly more tasteful than Selma. I think Selma leads her up the garden path quite a lot, because Letty's a follower rather than a leader.
Exactly, she's just a wedding goer.
Imelda. Now, my favourite line is coming up. I know one's not supposed to say things like that. Oh, no, actually, no, it isn't. Sorry.
Well, that's good.
Wrong.
You're not supposed to say it anyway. Go ahead, say it. I won't tell Emma Thompson. By the way, I'm Lindsay Doran. I'm the producer. This is Emma Thompson. She's the writer and actress. We haven't actually bothered to introduce ourselves yet.
Yeah.
So now we're just about done. We thought about time.
And there's our fairy princess. And our wonderful movement teacher, Jane Gibson, who worked with everyone on Sense and Sensibility, worked solely with Kelly to get the difference between the way in which she moved when she was playing a maid and this, having been through the deportment lessons that she would have been given, how to stand. And if you look at her the way she stands earlier on in the film, you'll see she's much more bowed and protected and sort of harried in some way, isn't she?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it. What are we doing milling about in this dreary vestibule?
I love that.
I must have sherry this instant, which is, of course, what I say every time I walk into the house at night.
Uh-huh.
I must have sherry this instant.
Yeah, and everyone else's house, too.
Yeah, okay. You know what happened? Sorry, listeners, you have to hear. The first time I went to Lindsay's house many, many years ago, and I walked in and said, I must have sherry this instant. She looked at me and said, we don't keep hard liquor in this house. That's when I realised I was in America, yeah.
Land of the Puritans.
It was like I immediately just went into her sort of kitchen area and went dreary vestibule and ransacked the place for booze. I think I found a very old bottle of something
Club soda.
unpleasant, which I dusted off. And
Doesn't look anything like her.
Nonsense. She's always...
I love that, because there's a lovely thing here that has to do with the way Nanny McPhee's looks change and the way Evangeline's looks change. And as far as he's concerned, she's never looked any different. And
she's always been beautiful.
Yes, and there's a question about whether Nanny McPhee's looks ever change either. You know, maybe they do, or maybe just their attitude towards her changes, and she's always the same.
You don't know. And I mean, that wonderful Norwegian proverb you found, Linz, that which is loved is always beautiful, is so true. It doesn't matter what anyone looks like, whether they've got 3 eyes in the middle of their forehead. If you love them, then they're beautiful. That's all there is to it.
Beehive.
That's so nice.
Behave. Beehive.
There's simply no sign of what you're looking at, which is a special effect, a visual effect.
Did you actually
face.
spend the money to take the bags out from under my eyes there?
I think
Because I'm not sure you did.
I don't think Emma Thompson would want us to be talking about that on the DVD.
I beg to differ, actually. I must have sherry this instant. I was so exhausted. And of course, what happens on film is that you only get to do your big close-ups when you're supposed to look pretty on the one day in the 4-month shoot where you absolutely haven't had any sleep. You're completely exhausted. And that's what happened. And look at those bags. But did you do that?
I think it's going to cost $150,000.
So you didn't. You refused to spend the money on me.
No, it wasn't me particularly. I was told it could all be handled in the digital grade, and I thought they'd actually handled it. I never noticed them because that which is loved is always beautiful.
Frankly. I don't know what I put up with.
This is stolen from the 3rd book, where they come up with this idea of pretending that they're bees.
Which is really very effective. When they were doing it, you could absolutely understand how the noise of bees buzzing could give the effect of something being there. The power, the hypnotic power of suggestion.
And I love Giles and Ween, who completely believe it and
Totally.
do some very good bee acting.
Yeah. And I've got various members of my family, as usual. And my mother's over at the other side, sitting
There she is.
sitting behind Angela, looking like Angela's big sister. And I said, because we gave all the extras proper family. Kirk had a brilliant idea about this wedding, actually, because originally, do you remember, it was a big wedding. And he said, we've decided to really cut it down so it's just a few people on each side. Just the family on one side. And it was so right. And then we could create relationships, familial relationships for all the... There.
Got the little bugger.
How godly. So great.
Yeah.
I'm so dreadfully sorry.
All right, this is
me.
Go ahead.
I did
Tell
that.
the story. Tell the story.
I turned out I was quite good at throwing pies. Now, during the food fight, which is coming up, you will notice if you watch Angela that she gets hit quite a lot, and some of the things that were hitting her had hardened overnight, and they'd got quite painful. And so she was very nervous about being hit in the face with a pie when we came to do it quite rightly, because it really could have hurt her. So there was a lot of chat, and the props boys were just, oh, please don't make us do it, please, because what if we hurt her? And they just felt very responsible, and we were all very tired and emotional. And I said, okay, I'll do it, because if it's me, then Angela will just, she'll just be able to say, she'll be able to hit me with impunity. See, those things were hard, and so I practiced with these pies, and I squished them up, and I practiced against the board, and then came the moment, and it was like a drum roll. It was terrifying. I lifted up the pie, and I thought to myself, I can't do this. And in a moment of perfect Zen mastery, in my view, I handed over responsibility to the pie, and I threw the pie, and it hit Angela right, as you saw, in the centre of her face. Not too hard, not too low, not too high. And she just did that. That's a one-shot wonder, that.
Yeah.
I've never been so proud. But I think pie throwing should be introduced to the National Health Service myself. It's very, very therapeutic. Everyone was happy doing this sequence. Everyone.
Everyone was happy during the sequence, and over the next couple of days, everybody was very unhappy as that stuff began to harden and smell. And
it smelled because there was dairy in it. They swore it wouldn't smell, but it did. That's very good. That Holly doing the little small
she was
things.
just sort of doing that on set, so finally you said, why don't you do it on camera? And he's finally a hero.
It's over! I won't spend another minute with this rubble.
I think he's a hero from the beginning. I mean, I know, you've got to have those moments where people do things to prove that they are this or that, but poor old Mr. Brown.
Poor old Mr. Brown,
In a very difficult position.
A nice choice for a wife, I must say, Cedric.
A fortune hunter and a mouth like a sewer to boot. Which I believe we cut.
We did cut, but only for time.
Oh, yeah, no, quite right.
And you, Evangeline, I can see that you are as wild as the rest of them.
And proud to be. I love them, Lady Stitch, which is more than you do.
Do you remember?
I'd leave you
We had a bit thing about finding that right dress for Evangeline.
Yes,
I just remember
a very big deal.
It was a big deal because Nicky had, bless him, followed exactly what it said in the script, which was Evangeline turns up in a very Aunt Adelaide-like dress. And of course, an Aunt Adelaide-like dress is not that dress.
Right,
it's something that makes you look sort of dowager-like.
You don't say, oh, is that a fairy princess?
Exactly. And
so
it was
overnight,
yeah.
he had to do something else.
And he did
came that beautiful
something
dress.
incredible. Now note, everyone, the tooth is there, and they did something very, very clever.
Later on.
Later.
Yeah, later on.
You agreed that you gave your word to our father that if you remarried before the month...
Because in the original, the tooth has a whole kind of scene of its own, basically, and it flies out of her mouth and turns into this and that. That's what happens in the books. The tooth always flies out and turns into either a coach or a big box of toys or
something.
Whatever.
And we had to turn into the rattle, and then that whole scene went, and so really we suddenly realized it should come out a lot sooner. This is a beautiful shot right here. Oh boy, not a dry eye in the house.
And what a beauty. I got quite irritable around this period because all the camera boys kept on, there were 4 of them, of course, there were 4 bloody cameras, kept on coming up to me and saying, she's fantastically photogenic, Kelly, isn't she? She's gorgeous, isn't she? Until I finally turned around and said, yes, I know, okay, yeah.
I'm his scullery maid.
But it has to be said, she's exquisite in a very original way. She looks like a real person.
And there's something great, and it's sort of in the theme of the movie that here are these people with cream all over them. Look, she has a big brown goo all over her neck, and yet it's such a romantic scene that you don't see it. Exactly the way everything else is in the movie. If you love somebody, you don't see that there's green goo all over their face.
Poor old Angela.
Poor old Angela.
She had that green
days
goo.
and
Days of
She
it.
had to have that.
I remember sitting in a high-backed chair reading a thriller with her glasses on over her goo.
Over goo.
Fantastic. Pat Doyle's just outdone himself on the romantic score here. And that long thing. Now, it was interesting, the girls, we showed this to a group of young girls who laughed when he said yes.
Laughed. It was like, I think it was just joy. It was just absolute
They were just
joy.
pleased.
Yeah. They were pleased he admitted it at last. And so And this was Kirk's idea, the snow.
I remember where we were. We were sitting around that table in New York. I was eating chicken soup. I had sinusitis, which is my
It was the first time you'd ever met him.
Yep.
The very first time you'd ever met him.
And he said, I've got this idea at the end when she bangs her stick. I can't remember what happened before.
Well, there just wasn't snow. There was just this nice wedding, but there wasn't snow. And he said at the end, there should really be some big magic.
He said a piece of natural magic.
Yeah.
And that it was snow. And then I had the idea of the snow making the wedding dress.
Right, snow making the wedding dress.
And
also backing it up for snow in August. So we put in those 2 lines for Cook. And this was all his idea, this wonderful idea of going inside the house and seeing the chair and seeing Nanny McPhee's empty rooms with pigeons in it and all that. Really good idea. Bang.
And then there was a lot of discussion about what condition the guests should be in, whether they should still have goop on, whether...
Or not, or whether the snow cleaned them. And
whether it should all be different or should just have snow. But if you notice, everything is different.
Yeah, everything is different.
Everything has changed.
And this is the moment. She used to have her tooth here, and the tooth is gone.
Yeah, and if you're really beady about it, like me, I can see that the smile that I give is slightly odd.
Slightly odd. It's a little bit
I
like
don't mind
Keanu Reeves in The Matrix when they take his mouth away. But it's okay because she's not quite done yet.
No, she
isn't done until the very end.
No, it works for me. It's completely, but it is...
The church would have to take a rather dim view of it if she were.
No, in fact, what happened was my son Simon is a very clever boy.
Evangeline.
And this scene I thought was very important to say stepmothers can be wonderful. That again, if you love somebody, then you don't think of them as a stepmother anymore.
And the handshake, which
nice.
is just as it should be, you know. It's an act of real love and commitment, and you know, I may start to cry now. See, I start to cry around this time. We are so soppy, Linz.
I know, it's awful. I think we cried on the DVD of Sense and Sensibilities, and we're going to cry our way through this one.
I like this. I love that. This was so beautiful, the arbour.
So beautiful.
I mean, Kelly and I would walk down and just go, God, we can't believe that we're here and it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But I tell you, that snow, it did not clog up your arteries.
As soon as it was done clogging up your lungs, it moved on to your arteries. I love that, the way the pink disappears.
And there they are, they're astonished because they're seeing this dress being made.
Right. And there was some question, remember, about putting Nanny McPhee in white, and it was like, no, she remains in black, and that was such a smart decision.
Yeah, because the sight of them, the pair of them,
this is
2 women, one in black and one in white. And also, of course, there are moments where, still slightly odd mouth, where you might have thought that Nanny McPhee would end up marrying Mr. Brown, and a lot of people do sometimes think that.
Yeah, when they hear the story, that's what they think. It's like, oh, I see, as she gets prettier than at the end.
I cannot tell you what it is like, what the sensation is, having written the line, the snow comes together to form a magical veil, and seeing it after all that work by Framestore is absolute. The sensation is indescribable.
Yeah.
And the sense of abject gratitude. I think that's why I cry, actually. It's not even as much the story as just thinking, we got a snow veil. We actually got our snow veil. That's what we wanted, and we got a snow veil.
Yeah. And again, having to work out at what at what point does this magical dress turn into a real dress, and Kirk figuring out when she throws the veil over, from that point on, it's a real dress. Very nice work.
Join together this man and this woman in holy matrimony.
I think I rushed around as Adam started to do. No, that's look.
Yeah.
That shot was taken on the last day, and I was so sad. We were all so sad that it was coming to an end. So the sadness on the face is not acted at all.
No.
A happy sadness, but still a sadness. And there she is, paying her respect, her last respect to Mrs. B. And this shot used to come back, and you would find Aunt Adelaide still lying down, covered in
ground. Exactly.
And there was a whole thing about, after recovering from the pneumonia, she vowed never to visit the Browns again.
But she did keep her promise to give them
money.
But
we realised we didn't need it,
Yeah,
because, of course, it's so clear that everything has been sorted out. And off she goes. And I was standing on a, one of those treadmill things.
Yeah, just going nowhere.
Ah.
Now, this was added at the very last second. This is something that has only been on the film for, at this point, about a month's time. A company called Voodoo Dog did these, and we're so happy with them.
This is different music.
This was music that was sort of literally cobbled from things, because Patrick was already on writing the music for the next Harry Potter film and wasn't around to write a whole new cue. And so somebody came in and just took what he'd already written.
Because I love the cue he's written for this so much, because it's so catchy.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we watched, can't remember what cut it was, and we were all sitting there and we got to the end of it, and the temp track was very good. The guys had put very good temp track together, and Pat was sitting there behind us saying, "Thanks a lot for the brilliant temp track."
No, I'll have to top that.
And he did top it. And how?
And in very little time. He had so little time to write this score for various reasons that we only heard some of these cues on the day that we were with the London Symphony Orchestra.
That must have been terrifying.
It was terrifying, and he seemed to be the only person who wasn't terrified. He was so sure it was right, and he was right. That wonderful Mrs. Quickly scene, that sort of Italian circus theme and everything, we heard it for the first time that day. And that wonderful little theme that he wrote for Imelda Staunton, the little military theme.
That little military theme.
Great. And Beyond the Call of Duty, if he hadn't written that, no one would have minded.
No.
He just...
But I knew, Pat and I, we've worked together so many times. And I just knew he would understand the script, and he would understand the film almost better than anyone. Of course, he's got 4 children.
He's got 4 children, and he's the youngest of 13 or something, or he's one of 13.
No, he's one of 13.
One of 13.
Yeah. When they used to, what was the other thing that Pat told me was that in these 13 children there was always a baby, and it was very, very cold in their bedroom at night. I love this donkey moon dancing and moonwalking, and they used to fight over the baby. They would fight over the baby keep for warmth. So this baby used to be sort of, that tug of war with the baby there is very much Pat and his brothers and sisters when they were little. His wife Leslie told me that her bedroom was so cold at night that her mother used to put the jelly in there to set overnight. But that's what it's like, cold rooms in Scotland and indeed England.
Yeah.
When you haven't got the money to heat the things,
No, I think there's a lot of authenticity in these children. Remember you told me that you based Eric, the professorial one, on your friend Jamie, who was a little professor even when he was 8 years old. And there's kind of a model for all of it. The way they relate to each other, all of it comes from something. I'd also like to point out on that last day of shooting when we were all so sad and you were practically in tears and you were supposed to be smiling through your tears, which sort of worked out very well, that in order to cheer you up. Remember? Tell it.
Well, it wasn't in order to cheer me up, surely. You planned it.
Well, we came to plan it when we realized that it would be a very nice thing to do.
Well, okay, so we did the last shot, which wasn't in fact that shot. It was me picking up the stick, which is not in the film anymore, right? Mm-hmm. And I pick up the stick from the side of the snowman, and it was the last shot, my last shot of the shoot. Film. And Phil Sindel, who's not, an actor, he's the camera operator and he brilliantly totally took me and he said, "There's something on the bottom of your dress, there's some threads, can you get them cut off?" And Mel, my wardrobe lady, who's a fantastic woman who sings as well
and acts, because she had to act her part in this drama.
That's right. She took me off and sort of started to fiddle around with this
non-existent
I was
thread.
thinking, what's going on here? This is anyway. So I was rabbiting on as usual in a moany way probably. And then I turned round and all the crew and Kurt they were all suddenly standing in a great big group at the back of the thing with their backs to me. And in front of them was a huge, great big, frankly, tomb-like bouquet of flowers, which looked like I died. Yeah. And Kirk said, still with his back to me, "Ladies and gentlemen, that's Emma's last shot of the film." And they gave me a clap. That's the traditional thing to do. They turned around and every single person was wearing one of my noses.
Yeah, there were all these noses left over because they'd made a whole bunch of them. You never knew how many of them were going to melt off in the course of the day. So we had dozens of them left over, and it was Emma's last day. So we went and got them all. Every single one of us put these noses on. And it took you a second to realize what you were looking at. You saw one, and then you saw another, and then you realized we all had them.
You all looked slightly odd. And I just slightly misshapen. And then I suddenly realised that they all had the number one, the biggest, the Nanny McPhee nose.
Yes,
on. And everyone had them sort of in their pockets. And while I'd been taken off and Mel was taking the stitching off, there was a lot of whispering. And I was with everybody trying to stick these noses on. Anyway, it was ghastly.
It was nice. I still have mine. It makes
got-
me happy.
Well,
They tell me it's going to melt away, that it won't last forever, but I kept it anyway. I should keep it in the refrigerator, probably. I remember when we were doing the beach scene, I was catching
Hey,
the...
the film's finished.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, okay. Bye, everyone.
Are we sure it's finished? Oh, too bad. Okay, I'm still Lindsay Duran.
Let's go
This is
have a
still Emma
drink.
Thompson.
I must
Bye.
have sherry this instant.